Hey guys, welcome to a brand new episode of Cosplay Chris Creates. This week I'm going to be showing you how to make a resin casting out of a silicone mold backed up with a fiberglass mother mold. Alright, let's get rid of the elephant in the room. I just had a shave and a shower and I've got severely bad shaver's rash and the middle of my left eye is bloodshot, so try and look nice for you guys. Now, if some of you guys did happen to miss how I made this mold, you can head to my YouTube channel to my upload section and check out my step-by-step process of how it was done. Now, the resin casting that I'll be doing today is that of Freddy Krueger for an upcoming Nightmare on Elm Street display piece I'll be doing to mark the 30th anniversary of the franchise. Now, the product of resin that I'm going to be using today is called Bee Queen resin. Now, it's usually used for casting jewelry in little fine small pieces, but I wanted it because it has a clear, almost champagne setting color that I wanted to tint red to have a red backing on the actual final face shell. I'm not gonna lie, I've never used Bee Queen resin before in my entire life, so this could get interesting and make for really good film. As always, let's get to our list of ingredients that we're gonna need today. Of course, we've got our Bee Queen. This is part A. And of course, part B. So Bee Queen acts exactly as Pinky Seal Silicone and Supercast resin does, only this time I've got about a 2-minute working time before the gel process begins. Now, like Pinky Seal and Supercast, Bee Queen can be mixed by a ratio of 100 to 100 by volume or 100 to 90 by weight. Of course, I'm going to go for 100 100. I'm at maths. What's the ratio? Now, as I did mention before, I am going to be tinting this resin red so I can have a nice, smooth, even color for the back of the face shell. And for that, we're going to need some cherry red opaque pigment for urethane and epoxy resin. Now, this stuff goes a long way. You only need about 5 or 10% of your total mixture of Bee Queen. So, as I always say, a little dab will do ya. For instance, if you were to mix over, say, 10%, it could inhibit the curing time of the Bee Queen, or it may not even cure at all. Then, my friends, you are up creek. And as always, to mix all those components together, you're gonna need our old faithful friend, tongue depressors. And of course, who could forget plastic cups? And even though I didn't wear them in the last video, you're gonna need some protective gloves. If you get resin on your fingers, it becomes the most tenacious stuff ever, and it's so hard to get off. Now, I think I've pretty much explained everything for what's about to go down. This is a pretty simple step in this project, but you still wanna have everything ready as you are racing against the clock. Let's do it. Alright, here we go. Now, as you see, I've already gone ahead and poured my Bee Queen 1:1. Now, here's our red pigment. Now, this little spoon that I'm using here is actually just a utensil you can use in your coffee. And it happened to be the perfect measuring. A leveled out scoop of red was perfect for this batch that I was whipping up for this casting. So you've got to be very, very thorough because it wants to stick to that tongue depressor. And just give it a thorough mix now, and you're going to feel it start to heat up because Bee Queen, or any resin for that matter, works off heat. That's how it sets, and that's why it sets very quick, especially if you're in a humid climate. And here we go, just pour it in the mold. Now, this is where you start slushing it around. Now, I did forget to mention in the items needed a couple of brushes, disposable brushes, because the first couple of coats I use a brush, just especially for the print coat, of course. For anyone that doesn't know what the print coat is, it's the first coat that's going to be adhering itself to your mold, and that's the coat you want to pick up the most amount of detail possible, because it's either going to make or break your casting. Okay, so we're all dried. That was about 15 minutes, so this stuff sets very, very quick, so we're ready for round 2. And again, I just went ahead and pre-mixed the pigment in part A and pour that into part B. Mix, 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 mix. Again, I can't stress enough, you got to be absolutely thorough when you mix this stuff. Slightest little bit that isn't mixed properly may not cure properly, and then you've got a lot of problems on your hand, especially when you're trying to make a casting like this. So, I did say that you may need a couple of brushes, but it's just really for building up a nice even layer, because I need the back to be presentable as well for this sculpture, this Nightmare on Elm Street sculpture. Now, I did that 2 more times. Now, what I need to do is fill in the nose, because I'll be mounting a copper pipe onto the back of the nose, so I need that area to be as flat and as level as possible. So I'm not just going to keep it, I'm just going to slush a little bit around just for extra build up and strength. And I'm just going to let it all settle back down into the nose after a couple of minutes, and just get a nice even flat surface that'll be easy to mount. That sounds a bit wrong, doesn't it? As There you go, just keep it still, and a couple of minutes later, it'll start curing and you can leave it be. And this was my final coat. This was just to seal everything in and make everything as neat and as tidy as possible inside that casting. And this was later that afternoon. We're ready to demold. Now you got to be real careful, even though it's pretty straightforward, you still want to be careful when demolding because you never know, something could come loose or dislodge and break apart, especially around the ear here because there's such a built up silica mold around the ear. I was trying to be as careful, as gentle as I can. And there you go. So I just started going around the perimeter of the actual casting, and then when it gets that release, it'll pop off easy as, because again, silicone doesn't want to stick to anything. And there we go, we have our raw resin Bee Queen casting pigmented with a nice cherry red. And there you have it, guys. Here's our raw resin casting that's been tinted red. Next step is cleanup, sanding. I've got to drill out the eye holes to make way for some eye inserts. And then next up is the most favorite part of this process, airbrushing. So thanks very much for watching, guys. If you'd like more information on where I got these products, you can head to www.barnes.com.au where you can find all their products there. As always, thanks very much for watching, guys. And until next time, geeks, always remember, cosplayers do it best.